I don't. Sometimes we miss people if they just put up their hands, and I don't want to neglect. Yeah, I've found as a former teacher, sometimes it's better to ask a question as soon as you have it than to wait and ask you to remember it later. The mission of the League of Women Voters is empowering voters, defending democracy. Our dual purposes of education and advocacy are reflected in our mission. The League of Women Voters encourages informed and active advocacy and participation in government. It works to increase the understanding of major public policy issues, and we influence public policy through education and advocacy. The League is bound to be nonpartisan. We neither support nor oppose candidates for any office or for any political party at any level of government. But we also are always working on vital issues of national concern to members of the League as well as the general public. Our national vision is of a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. So education is a really, really important focus of the League. And our vision is that we, particularly in Colorado, want to be a force to be reckoned with. Beth? You're muted, Beth.
Thank you, Karen. I'm sorry, this slide is a little wonky, but as you likely know, the League is tri-level. The National League was founded in 1920, February 14th, 1920, when it became clear that the 19th Amendment would pass. So some of the suffragists that fought for the 19th Amendment went ahead and formed the League to begin to educate this new 20 million electorate to be active, informed participants and to learn how to run for office. Then the State League followed 8 years later in 1928. And we currently have 18 chapters around the state. So since our founding, the League has continued its dual purposes of education and advocacy, engaging in member-led studies on representative government, international relations, natural resources, and social policy. So these studies can lead to official League positions on an issue if the entire membership can come to consensus on this position. And this speaks to the grassroots nature of the League. On our website, you can find the National League's positions for action, as well as the state leagues. These positions allow us to speak with one voice, which is an important League function. And it's important that we maintain one collective voice when speaking on League positions and when representing the League. Karen.
Yes. The League's purpose then is to advocate for positions at the state level. It is to educate on state issues, and it is to support our 18 Colorado leagues. Beth?
Oh, sorry, I missed a slide. Yep. Staff roles and responsibilities include administration. And we can help you with administration of your local league too, in terms of advice and mentoring. You met Laura just a minute ago. She's our operations manager. We also have a communications manager, Rob Perper, and a legislative liaison, Andrea Wilkins. She's also known as our staff lobbyist. So another main purpose of the State League is orchestration. We forever have about 9,000 balls in the air. and are supporting any number of events and activities. And so helping to orchestrate things both at the local, state, and national level. And of course, fundraising. A big part of my job is fundraising, and our hope and intent is that some of that fundraising will trickle and flow down to our local leagues.
So the board of directors, and I will tell you that this is an old picture of the board of directors.
Very old.
Many of us have not been in the same room ever with one another. It always surprises me in conversations with other people that Beth will say, well, Karen and I have never met, which is surprising because we've been in Zoom meetings and had so many conversations over the past year and a half that it's true. We never have met in person, and many of our board members have not met in person. So the board of directors' roles and responsibilities are, number one, to provide vision for the organization, stewardship, and to be engaged in fundraising. As Beth said, fundraising is a major part of her role as the executive director, but it's also partially the responsibility of board of director members as well. In fact, every board director is encouraged to make a donation, whatever size. There's no requirement for how much, but every board member is expected to contribute to the organization during the year financially.
But thankfully, getting arrested like the suffragists did is no longer a board duty. And
Yeah.
I would like to point out, hey, here's Jean McGuire. Hi, Jean. She's here. Okay, Laura.
Hello, hi everybody. So we have 18 local leagues serving 23 counties throughout Colorado. As you can see on the map here, we do a pretty good job covering the geography of the state. We definitely do a good job covering the population of the state, because as you can see, like we said, we had 18 leagues covering those 23 counties, which included in those counties that have leagues covering them, more than 89% of our state's population lives in these areas. So we have a really great broad reach, which is wonderful. The purpose of these local leagues is to advocate, to create and advocate for positions at that local regional level, so that there can really be representation of the mission of the league in all these important pockets of the state. And so it's wonderful to have voices who can speak up and advocate for people in every part of Colorado.
Okay. Our voter services programs at the state, just like you all, we put out ballot issues. I really should have updated this to 2021, I'm realizing. But the state has been putting out ballot issues pamphlets since 1936. We offer lots of, we also coordinate, of course, for Vote 411 with you all. We do have 2 other mainstay publications. Send a Message is a list of contact information for all elected officials at the federal, state, and local levels. Actually, no, just federal and state levels. And Your Voice, Your Vote is instructions on how-tos on how to actually register to vote, how to vote. So we also provide a variety of forums and webinars for educational purposes, both for our membership and the general public. And we provide a lot of get out the vote support to you all as well. Voter registration, of course, has long been a mainstay of the league. Because we did pass automatic voter registration about 1.5 years ago, we are kind of focusing those efforts on high opportunity populations, including new citizens. I can't remember which one of you mentioned naturalization ceremonies, but that's a wonderful opportunity. We partner with the U.S. Department of Citizenship and Immigration Services. And once they start having those naturalization ceremonies in person again, actually they started last month. We have league members registering new citizens to vote, and it doesn't get much more heartwarming than that. We also, the Denver program is piloting and bringing out a great program about registering and helping to vote the incarcerated populations. They had great success with that in 2020, helping more than 140 jailed individuals vote. Obviously, these people are fully eligible to vote. In Colorado, the only people who are not eligible to vote are those who are serving an active felony sentence. Those who are on parole can now vote. We also work on the young voters too, because they tend to be more transient, going to college, moving out of mom and dad's house, hopefully, not so much in my case, but we're getting there. And so we're supporting programs around voter registration there. So, and now Karen's going to talk about action and advocacy.
And this is an area where the league is really beginning to push to become even more focused than they have been in the past. Our Legislative Action Committee, which is a group of trained volunteer individuals who lobby for legislation. One of the things that the league is really wanting to focus on each year is actually drafting one or more pieces of legislation that we would then work with our state legislators to have presented and approved. Our Legislative Action Committee is made up of League of Women Voters from around the state. The responsibilities include tracking bills in a particular area of interest and then providing advocacy and support or opposition of those particular bills. And Beth, the date for the Legislative Action Committee training, that's coming up, I'm thinking, or am I thinking of something else?
Nope, you're absolutely right. The first one is coming up on November 20th. This is kind of the basics of advocacy, and anyone is welcome to join. You don't have to be committed to the Legislative Action Committee to take part. That said, we would really, really love it if the LAC included at least one member from each league around the state so that we can get that perspective, because, you know, it's our local league members, you all who are boots on the ground, who know what's important in your communities. And that's stuff that our LAC needs to know, that we need to know, we really want to know. So a great example of this is this photo here. This person sitting right here, she's not a member of the Legislative Action Committee, the LAC. She's just a league member. Her name is Ruth Nierenberg. She happens to be the president of the Pueblo League. But we asked her to please, we needed somebody from Pueblo specifically to testify on a bill. And she agreed to do that. Here she is testifying before the Senate committee, sitting next to Senate President Leroy Garcia. So advocacy can be as big as that, or as small as making phone calls, or just tracking bills online. So it doesn't need to be intimidating, and we'll teach you how if you don't know. And it's really a great way to get involved.
And
So-
it can even be just advocating for yourself. Yes, obviously, you know, we would love to have people that take the training, get involved at the league level with legislation, but you know, knowing how to advocate for yourself, whether you are, you know, interacting with a government official or a healthcare professional or whatever, very often the techniques are very similar. So you might want to think about signing up for that training. Something else that we do that fosters action and advocacy is sending out action alerts, which are our calls to action on a specific issue. Sometimes the word comes down from national. Sometimes it's something that we're trying to address something at the state level. And so those action alerts go out from the state office. And then, of course, we communicate between local leagues and the LAC on local and regional issues, which again is the reason why Beth is saying it's so important for us to have each of the leagues around the state represented. The LAC advocates on both local and regional issues on behalf of the local leagues. Laura.
Actually, can I jump in real quick? I just want to point out to expand on a point that Karen made earlier, that the State League has committed to drafting more legislation. And the reason for that is because this top picture here is from our work on amendments Y and Z, which created the independent redistricting commissions that are completing their work now. This is a league member, Tony Larson, and that's Arnold Schwarzenegger there. He was involved in the anti-gerrymandering campaign, something about terminating gerrymandering. So we learned, because the league was highly involved in the drafting of amendments Y and Z, and we got a lot out of that. We're now working on a few different pieces of legislation. One is data change around demographic data being collected for the redistricting process. So we're looking to better the process in 2031. Based on what we learned this first go around. We're also working with Representative Tom Sullivan. He has agreed to introduce our legislation to provide postage paid ballot return envelopes. And we'll be working with Senator Steve Fenberg to re-allow 17-year-olds to vote in primaries if they will be 18 by the general election. That provision was in place before, but was taken away by Amendment 76, which was passed in November of 2020. Okay, now on to Laura, unless anyone has any questions. Okay, Laura.
All right. So, as we said earlier, the state of Colorado has 18 local leagues throughout the state. As you can see there, we cover a lot of geography. And the way the state league supports these local leagues is by offering financial support through direct giving and grants. Every local league can apply for grant money from the state league to do projects and things in their local area, up to $500 a year. So that's a wonderful way that we support the work that you all do in your local leagues. We also offer promotional support. So we use the state social media and various communication strategies, like working with journalists and the media and everything to get the word out about events and things that we're doing with advocacy and what have you. We also share all of the events for local leagues can be on the state website as well, on the website calendar. So that's a really nice way to get the word out about events happening in all of these local leagues. We offer organizational support. So just anything that local leagues need advice or our expertise about things that maybe are not frequent needs for the local leagues, but come up and they just want some advice. We offer communications support. So there are bi-monthly statewide calls with leadership, but that's open to anybody. Anyone who's interested can join those calls and participate and learn about what's going on throughout the state and in those local leagues. We also have, we support member events and we have events at the state level that local leagues can participate in and support on their own. So things like Making Democracy Work Day, which is very exciting. In September, we try to get people to be talking about and learning about things like voting rights, of course, healthcare, anything that falls within the purview of the League of Women Voters. And then we also, every January, there's a legislative conference that cover issues of interest that will be in the Colorado legislature that upcoming year. And then the annual meeting in May every year offers an opportunity for the membership to vote on things like bylaws changes and the annual budget, things like that, and to welcome incoming state board members. That happens at the annual meeting as well. And then we also offer just general resources to members and local leagues throughout the state. Our state website offers a lot of good resources and information and tools that can be used as well. The State League has a Zoom account that we can use and lend to local leagues for events and that kind of thing. And then the staff and the state board are always here to support any work that the local leagues are doing, and members in Colorado who want to be taking action in various ways, we support that. And then we have a physical office in Denver, right across the street from the state capitol, which is pretty cool. The first day I came to work, I was just giddy because I was walking up to the front door and I was nerding out because I love politics, right? So I was like, look, state capitol right there across the street. So that's fun. Our office is great, and maybe one of these days you'll be in Denver if you don't live here, and you can stop by. We're always open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday for folks to stop in. Beth?
Okay. Like you all, we are nonpartisan. Like many of you, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Some local leagues are C3s, some are C4s. I'm not going to go into the difference between those two right now, but I'm happy to talk to anybody individually about that. You can see that our revenue sources are pretty diverse. Membership makes up at about 9%. So not that big of a percentage. Program, of course, takes up the largest part of our expenses, and like most nonprofits. And this is a flow chart of our current strategic plan. It is an awful lot of information for one slide, and I put it in here just to illustrate that our board does actually really engage in strategic visioning and setting out some great goals and objectives. And if anyone would like to learn more about this, I would be very, very happy to talk to you about that. So just let me know. Oh, and here's how to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of, oh, sorry. Info is how you can get a hold of Laura. My cell phone is there. And please don't hesitate. I'm also going to put this in the chat box so you all can cut and paste. So those of you who are not new members, Joe, Jean, Jan, tell me what we missed. Fill in any gaps.
Well, I do have one question. You have had the new member brochure, the yellow one. Have you updated that? Are you still using that?
You know, we're not really. Simply because it's only in printed version, and you know, nobody's been going places where they can be handed printed things. So, but I'll sure look at that, Joe. We should look at that member handbook and see. There's got to be a lot of worthwhile stuff in there.
I have a comment about demographics from, and it's anecdotal, but Denver County housing prices are unrealistic for a lot of people, whether renting or owning. And there's gentrification in neighborhoods. Particularly, this was mentioned to me in Southwest Denver, that the people who speak Spanish as a primary language or as one of the languages in the household, they're moving out of Denver because they can't afford it. And they're moving to Adams County. So I just want to let everybody be aware that, you know, change is constant, but how are we going to reach, you know, people of voting age that seem to be struggling and maybe are in a new location without family, you know, for support. So I just wanted to mention that as something that came up as we were distributing our English and Spanish pros and cons brochures this fall.
Thanks, Joan. Yeah, it's always a concern and a goal to that we reach as many Coloradans as possible. We do just about all printed stuff in English and Spanish. We do have some ASL resources on our YouTube channel. And we're working to use a lot more video over as well as printed material. And we're also really including closed captioning in a lot of our presentations. But we're also always looking for new ways to reach out to new audiences. And, you know, just looking around this meeting here, one could say the league is pretty gentrified as well. So how do we make sure that we're, you know, our educational materials are relevant to people who don't necessarily look like us? And how do we make sure the league stays relevant? So these are the questions the state board is asking. And as you all think about these things and come up with ideas, I hope you'll share them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to make one comment. You know, I'm a member of a lot of organizations, which is mostly about giving money. And the league is very unique in the respect that when you join the league, you should expect that you're going to be doing some work. Because, I mean, we've got a lot of work to do, and, you know, there's only a few staff members, but, you know, whatever your passion is, there is a spot for you to do it, and you can get as involved as you want to be. But it's an organization that you can actually, you're doing something when you join.
Yeah, it's like, well, I was just gonna say, at the local level, you might consider partnering with your local libraries or community centers to kind of get out the word to those smaller communities that the league is there, what it is that we do, and share the message. As Jean said, probably one of the critical things that the league does is that, you know, we work on vital issues. So there's lots of different ways that individuals can participate. And the truth is that you can participate even if you choose not to join. I mean, we would love to have you join, certainly. But, you know, I don't think that, I think we need to get away from the idea that, well, unless you're a member, you know, we can't use your help. The truth is that there's a lot of work for the league to do, and many hands make light work, and the more volunteers, engaged volunteers we have, the more successful we'll be.
A rising tide lifts all boats too.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Come on.
I was just, no, I was just going to say, if the lady who was talking about affordable housing, one of the committees on the LAC is housing, and she might want to look in and join us.
Mhm. The State League puts out an email blast every Friday. 2 Fridays a month. It's just a list of upcoming events, and that includes local league events. Everything that's on our calendar goes into that. And then once a month, we put out an e-newsletter, The Voter, that goes to everyone on our distro list, which is around 6,000 people. And then once a month, we send out board briefings. That's to members only. That's following a state board meeting, and it includes the minutes of that board meeting. So you have good access to what the board is talking about and considering, as well as resources and, you know, happenings and articles and anything like that. So we advertise for committees and forums and things in these e-newsletters. And for instance, we're just wrapping up our redistricting observer corps. We had about 110 people monitoring the redistricting process around the state. And we are in the midst of gathering their observations to inform, you know, what needs to change, what worked, what didn't work, what can be improved. We also have a couple individual observers overseeing some investigations. Sadly, the Colorado judiciary has 2 separate investigations going into harassment and discrimination allegations. So we have an observer making sure that those investigations move forward and don't just fizzle out. We also have an observer making sure that the allegations against the Colorado Department of Public Health and the Environment's Air Quality Commission, there are allegations against them that they rubber stamp a lot of air quality permits, Suncor, things like that. So we have an observer making sure that that investigation moves forward, happens, that people are held accountable. So things like that pop up, and we will always let you know about that. But we also have lots of forums going on to gather just people interested or working in particular areas, voter services, member engagement, JEDI, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Karen, what else am I missing?
Legislative action,
Legislative action.
communications. If we had something for communications.
Communications, fundraising. So both kind of issue oriented and organizational. So, and
Could you share your screen and just show everybody where the pull down calendar is? What the state has done is they have it's a easy to access. You can just, it's a pull down menu, and if local leagues send us their information, or we have been able to glean it from just checking out their websites, we include local league activities as well as state activities. If these events require registration, I believe you can click on the event and then it will take you to that local league site so that you can register. Most of the leagues programming requires no fee, but they do like for you to register so that they can send you the link if it's a Zoom meeting. So
most of these, the red events are the state leagues, but everything else is oh, actually, no, dark blue is ours too. Winning with Women is an event we're doing, obviously coming up, encouraging especially women of color to run for office.
Cool.
So, but everything else, Jan.
If we're putting our events up on Club Express on our own calendar or on our website, are you getting them automatically?
If you check a box.
Okay.
Do you know which box to check?
Well, I'm not the one doing it. I just wanted to make sure that's how it works, because we have folks who are actually doing that, but I didn't know if something else was needed to get it to you.
Nope, just check in the box as you entered the, so if they don't know how, have them call me or Laura.
If anybody else wants to see that.
Sure. Okay, so I am going into the back part of the website to create an event. So right down here, this is where you enter the date of the event and the time. There's this series of 4 check boxes.
Okay.
The bottom checkbox, yours actually says show this event on upper level calendar, which is LWVCOs. And just clicking that puts it on our calendar, and that means it will go into all of our e-newsletter blasts.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay.
And it will appear then on the state calendar, right?
That's correct. Yep. So I want to be sure once you sign in, the member tab appears. Our document library has an awful lot of resources for you, and forums are where are gatherings of people talking about different topics, communications, nonpartisanship, JEDI, as I said, membership development, voter services. So all of these are open to anyone and everyone. So encourage you to explore the State League's website. And if you need help doing that, just don't hesitate to call.
One of the things that Laura mentioned also was the financial support that the State League can provide to local leagues. We do have grants, and Jean McGuire is chair of that grant committee. So we've tried to streamline that process, make it as easy as possible for you to get up to $500 to do a variety of different things. And if you have a question, Jean, you want to put your contact information in the chat so that folks can get in touch with you if they have questions about what they might, projects that they might use the money for, or how they go about doing it. It's very, very simple. The idea is to make the money available, not make it so hard for you that nobody wants to apply for it. Debbie, did you have a question? Okay, sorry.
No, I was just going to mention, I think we've only had 4 or 5 leagues that have applied for any funds. So there's lots more leagues that need to apply. It's not hard.
Okay.
And with turnaround time is pretty quick.
Well, and we've had leagues that have applied for funds to be able to translate. For the first time, leagues had the option of, if they wanted to get the ballot issues information in digital form and then combine it with their own local ballot measures, then they were able to do that. And we did have some leagues that applied for translation services. We've had leagues that have applied for purchasing a Zoom account. So all kinds of projects. You're only limited by your own imagination. Yes, Jill.
I would like to know, can we apply for a grant for a project that is already finished?
No,
No.
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Jill. That was just one, yeah.
Do it again.
Well, are there any other questions or any other suggestions for how we might improve new member orientation going forward?
Karen, can I just, I can't remember the person that said, like to learn about or trying to figure out the different levels of the league. Because it can be confusing. So,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but it's, it can be as clear as mud sometimes, because there's local league members who are on all levels, whether they're on the national board, the state board, or a local board. But that was just a question. Is as clear as mud now? I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, at the state league, we do have a handful of members who are only members of the state league, but it's under 10. All of our members are our local league members, because when you join at the local level, you're also joining at the state and national level. So we are you are us, and they are them.
Well, and we encourage you too, once you feel comfortable working with your local league and are maybe interested in expanding your sphere of influence or getting a little bit more involved, we certainly are always looking for people who are interested in serving at the board level. And National has put out numerous times recently that if you're a member of the local league or the state board and are interested in serving at the national level, apply. So, our organization is very similar to lots of others. Finding people who are willing to step into leadership positions can sometimes be challenging. And so we really encourage you, if you've got the time and the interest, to don't let lack of experience deter you, because we've got people that are willing to help walk you through. It's your primary requirement is that you be interested and willing and have time. And even if your time is limited, we'll try to be accommodating so that we
Absolutely.
don't overburden. So. Or are there
I'm
other
here to help.
questions? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for tonight.
Thank you. I think it's dinner time.
Okay.
Everyone enjoy your evening, and thank you again for your time. And really, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're glad you're part of the league.
Yes,
Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.